On Wake Up, the new details coming out about the string of murders in Stockton, what the similarities are in each case. Plus, the Ukrainian forces gaining back their land, why it's causing concern of how Russian President Putin will respond.
And waking up with comfortable temperatures in the 50s there. Another seasonable day in store. We have your Weather Authority forecast coming up.
Welcome to Wake Up on KION News Channel 46.
Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, October 4th. Welcome to Wake Up. I'm Taryn Mitchell. Stockton police are learning more about a recent series of murders that they believe are connected. The victims are all men ranging from ages 21 to 54 years old. According to police, the murders all happened when it was dark and when the victims were alone. Lizzie Mitri gives us the latest.
It's just scary, period. You know what I mean? I can't put nothing on it like that. It's just spooky and scary, you know what I'm saying?
Some people in Stockton are on edge after learning police believe 5 unsolved murders are all connected. In each case, lone victims were caught by surprise in the dark and shot to death.
Yeah, I was home. Everybody heard the shots.
She didn't want to give her name, but this woman lives near West March Lane and North Pershing Avenue, and it was here that 52-year-old Juan Cruz was killed nearly 2 weeks ago, just before 4:30 in the morning. Police say he was walking to his truck.
Just another life gone. The man was on his way to work. That scares me. That part scares me. On his way to work.
1 month earlier, on August 30th, at an apartment complex about 3.5 miles away off East Hammer Lane near West Lane, officials say 21-year-old Jonathan Hernandez Rodriguez was shot while parked in his car at about 6:40 in the morning. Police say all the killings that may be linked started back in July.
The shocking part of it was that, like I said, how long it took for them to tell us that this has been happening.
Police announced the suspected connection last week, saying in each case the man killed was by himself in a poorly lit area. Some neighbors wonder if Cruz would have died if that warning had come sooner.
Had he had the information, he could have went to his vehicle more cautious, more prepared, ready to run, flee, do whatever. He wouldn't have been caught off surprise. So I'm really angry about that.
An $85,000 cash reward has been offered to anyone with information leading to an arrest on that. Along with that, a man in Salinas accused of threatening to kill a security guard. Salinas PD says 46-year-old Valentine Koffler was panhandling on North Main Street back on Friday. After being asked to then leave multiple times by security, he then tried stabbing the guard, according to police. Officers say when they arrived on the scene, he then resisted arrest but was eventually detained. The suspect was found with 3 knives, and he's been booked into the Monterey County Jail. He's facing multiple charges, including attempted homicide. A known gang member and alleged drug dealer is thankfully off the streets of Salinas. Well, it's after an investigation by the Monterey County Sheriff's Office. Police found 34-year-old Max Aguilar on the 1400 block of Constitution Boulevard. Well, that's before issuing a search warrant for a home on the 600 block of East Romney Lane. It was there where detectives found large amounts of meth, heroin, cocaine, and counterfeit pills believed to have been fentanyl. Aguilar is booked into the Monterey County Jail for multiple narcotics and child endangerment violations. So some questions are being raised surrounding the death of a Los Angeles police officer back in May. Well, some say the death of the officer, Houston Tipping, was in retaliation for him being a whistleblower. Jeff Nguyen takes a closer look for us this morning.
You ready to go?
Yes, sir.
You got it.
This is video of the late LAPD officer Houston Tipping during a training session with a stun gun. The 32-year-old died in May during a different training exercise. Brad Gage, who represents Tipping's mother, has been raising questions as to why cameras weren't recording that fateful day.
LAPD claims that there was no video taken of the training this day. We don't believe that's accurate.
Gage points out how much our world plays out on camera, like this edited video of Tipping riding his department bike with fellow officers. Even though a coroner's report ruled that Tipping's death was an accident, Gage says Tipping was targeted by other officers because he was a whistleblower in an assault case involving LAPD. We asked Gage to show us documentation of what he alleges took place about 10 months before Tipping's death.
LAPD claims in Public Records Act request that there was no incident report at all.
According to a coroner's report, Tipping died of a spinal cord injury after a grappling exercise. Additionally, the autopsy found broken ribs that appears to be from CPR with a Lucas device, which provides chest compressions.
The problem with that is that other medical reports show the Lucas device was never used.
We also asked Gage if he's been able to speak to any of the paramedics about what type of treatment was given to Tipping.
Have not done any depositions yet, but we do have statements that we've obtained from various sources.
That was Jeff Nguyen reporting. Jeff did reach out to LAPD, but a spokesperson from the department says that they can't comment on pending litigation. All right, let's shift gears this morning. Wake up time at 5:35. Let's take a live look for you folks out the door. Well, I should say a dark look. Not feeling too bad out there. Let's check in more what our forecast is looking like for a Tuesday with Max Tarleton. Hello.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I actually got enough sleep for once, hoping our viewers did too, and they're waking up on with us.
That's right. Grab that cup of coffee. Not too much sugar today, and things actually are feeling all right as we're headed out the door this morning. We are seeing a couple of clouds roll in too, so if you're in those higher elevations, you might run into some of those passing clouds as fog-like conditions, but really not seeing too many foggy conditions, just patchy, like I mentioned, in those higher elevations. 58 degrees is the temperature right now down in Monterey, and it's 55 right now up on the Santa Cruz Boardwalk. In Salinas, we're about 59, and down through the Salinas Valley, we're in the low 50s, so Soledad about 51 degrees right now. Feeling pretty comfortable. In fact, it's very similar to what we were waking up with yesterday. Here's the futurecast. Clouds are out of here, especially some of those inland areas by about 11 o'clock. We'll see that. They'll hang out near the Monterey Peninsula as we head into the afternoon hours. And then this evening, we'll see some more clouds kind of roll into some of those inland valley locations as you see here. This is what we can expect by about 6 o'clock tomorrow. As we head through the next couple of hours, some clouds will hang out until about 8 o'clock. Temperatures will struggle to get out of the 50s, but they finally will by about 9 o'clock. Those skies will clear up a little bit and it'll be about 61 degrees. We'll check out those high temperatures and your 7-day forecast in about 10 minutes.
A high school football team in Yuba City will not be playing this season. That's after several students got suspended for simulating a slave auction. Stephanie Elam has that story.
We are in 2022, about to go to 2023, and this is still happening?
Frustration and shock in a Northern California community after video showing members of the River Valley High School varsity football team taking part in a disturbing prank where they appeared to stage a slave auction of 3 of their black teammates. School officials in the Yuba City Unified School District obtained the video, described as a, quote, slave sale, last week and barred the students involved from competing. CNN has not seen the video, but CNN affiliate KCRA says it shows about a dozen students pointing and yelling dollar amounts at the black students standing in their underwear up against a wall. The rest of the varsity football season will be forfeited since the team doesn't have enough players to continue.
They need counseling or something, whatever we can help them with, but this should not happen.
Reenacting a slave sale as a prank tells us that we have a great deal of work to do with our students so they can distinguish between intent and impact. School District Superintendent Doreen Osumi said in a statement, adding, "They may have thought this skit was funny, but it is not. It is unacceptable and requires us to look honestly and deeply at issues of systemic racism."
Whoever made the video, I feel like they should, even if they're football players, I don't care, you either have to get kicked off the game or, don't even play for the rest of the season because that's messed up.
The school says the students involved violated a student-athlete code of conduct that they all signed at the start of the year. Along with that, the Los Angeles Unified School District denied a ransom demand. And now stolen data from the LAUSD cyber attack is on the dark web. The hackers involved posted a message giving the district until Monday to pay ransom. But after the superintendent again refused, LAUSD confirms data was actually leaked. The district adds that the stolen information isn't anything that could cause much harm to students, parents, or district employees.
We believe that the vast majority of that data is not recent data. They were able to upload information from an archived set of student information that goes back to 2013 through 2016.
Conflicting information at the LA Times reports that they received a screenshot suggesting social media security numbers were released. A new hotline number for people within the school community has been made available to find out more information on the data breach. The internal hackers claiming responsibility for this also reportedly hit other school districts, which tend to be in need of cybersecurity updates. Ukrainian forces now gaining back more of their land that Russia is trying to annex. But the losses for Russia now raising concern about how an increasingly cornered Vladimir Putin will respond. Astrid Martinez has the latest.
Russian troops are losing ground by the day in Ukraine. Ukrainian forces have advanced into the southern Kherson region, one of the 4 areas Russia recently announced it's annexing despite widespread condemnation. The battleground gains come after Russian soldiers were forced to retreat from the strategic town of Lyman, another region the West says is being illegally annexed by Moscow.
Сьогодні продовжився наступальний рух нашої армії.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky says his army continues to advance and is promising to return life back to normal as quickly as possible for those in previously occupied Russian territories. Ukraine's recent victories, coupled with growing discontent at home, are significant blows to Vladimir Putin. CIA Chief Bill Burns tells CBS's Nora O'Donnell he's concerned with how the Russian president will respond.
Putin cornered, Putin who feels his back against the wall, can be quite dangerous and reckless. He thinks he can tough it out with the Ukrainians and with the United States and with the West.
The exiled mayor of Russian-occupied Melitopol says he expects a massive escalation in the war.
I expect that Putin will use nuclear weapons.
Russian military has already stepped up attacks on civilian targets. In the city of Dnipro, tearful residents paid tribute to young lives taken in a rocket attack miles from the front line. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.
Russian parliament voted unanimously to then endorse the treaties for regions of Ukraine to join Russia. Ukraine, though, insists that those referendums aren't legally valid. So straight ahead this morning, the U.S. postal workers connected to a fraud and theft scheme. Why the Department of Justice says more suspects are on the loose. Plus, the driest 3-year period in California on record. Why experts say we might be in store for another extremely dry year.
Good morning. Here's a look at temperatures out the door right now. 58 in Monterey, 56 in Carmel Valley, and Santa Cruz about 55 degrees. Things feel pretty comfortable out there with some clouds rolling in. We'll have your full forecast when we come back. Here's a live look from our station camera looking west at South Salinas. We'll be right back.
Get the app, get the alert, know the current weather conditions with the KION Weather Authority app.
Being an Army Ranger is a very fast-paced lifestyle. I was clearing a weapons cache in Haditha, Iraq, when the building collapsed on me, burying me alive. I spent 6 months in the hospital and a year of recovery. When I was separated from the military, I just felt like I was useless because I only had this one thing that I was supposed to do, and then that one thing was taken away from me. But then one day, I got a call from Wounded Warrior Project. They asked me to come to a workout, and I decided that I was going to get better, both physically and mentally. Now I'm a warrior leader. I create events and opportunities for other veterans locally. Wounded Warrior Project did a phenomenal job reminding me that my injuries aren't going to define who I am. And because of that, I can do anything that I want.
Welcome back. 3 U.S. postal workers have been arrested in a $1.3 million fraud and identity theft scheme. The Justice Department accusing these employees of stealing credit cards in the mail. The DOJ says the credit cards were then used at a variety of high-end retail stores in New York and New Jersey. They add that the 5 other individuals involved in the fraud and identity theft scheme still remain at large. Charges involved carry very lengthy prison sentences if these defendants are found guilty. Right, just about 5:45 here on Wake Up. Let's go ahead and wake up with that forecast this morning. Good morning, Max.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, wake up, rise and shine.
Rise and shine.
Time to conquer the day. We have temperatures that are a little bit more motivating today compared to yesterday, well, only by a degree or so. Monterey, though, 58 as we're waking up this morning. We'll take that over, what, 53? It's a few degrees, but it makes a difference down there. 51 down through the Salinas Valley, and really about 60 over in Coalinga. So things actually feel pretty comfortable as we're heading out the door this morning. Not too cool and obviously not too hot. Today, things are going to warm up into the 60s and 70s along the coast and 80s inland. We're going to break all that down in a second. But like we mentioned, waking up comfortable. Here's where the clouds are. So the satellite showing where those clouds have been building over the last few hours. And you can see some of those inland areas seeing a little bit more clouds. Fortunately, not as much as we were seeing yesterday. So things have tapered off a little bit. And it's mainly going to be higher elevation, so visibility isn't really going to be too affected by this. As you can see, still about 10 miles from Hollister out to Watsonville. Salinas, little patchy there, about 8 miles, and down on the Monterey Peninsula, they're about 10. Things up in the Santa Cruz Mountains are looking all right as well. Here's a look at our future cast, and as we head into the afternoon and evening, things inland are going to remain fairly clear. We are going to see some of those clouds kind of swirl around in the Monterey Bay as we head into the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning. So 6 o'clock tomorrow could see some more clouds around Watsonville, through Marina and down into the Monterey Peninsula. Salinas could even see a few clouds waking up tomorrow. As far as those high temperatures today, though, Santa Cruz topping out at 75. It's 79 up in Felton, and it'll be 78 at the summit. Those overnight temperatures dropping down to the mid to low 50s, so it'll be similar to what we're waking up with today. In fact, could be a degree or two off, so very consistent. 74 in Aptos and 65 down in Marina. Salinas will top out at 72. As you head inland, obviously getting a little bit warmer, so 84 in Hollister, Gilroy, and Morgan Hill. It could be even a little bit warmer up close to those Santa Cruz mountains in those gulches. Gets to the low 90s in some spots. Here's a look at the Monterey Peninsula. 65 for PG, 67 for Carmel by the Sea, and Seaside, you'll be 67 as well. Those overnight temperatures, mid-50s. And then let's move on down to southern Monterey County, where Bradley is our warm spot today at 93 degrees. King City will be 90, and the Pinnacles will top out at about 84. Might be a little warm for a hike. If you want to do that, head over to Big Sur. Their high is 76 today. Those overnight temperatures will drop down to about 56 degrees on average for everyone in southern Monterey County. Let's take a look at those next 7 days for our coastal areas. Breezy for your Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll see some more clouds for your Thursday and Friday. And then Saturday, we'll see a cool down. Averages drop from 70s down to mid to upper 60s. And then those overnight temperatures will remain in the 50s for the next 7 days. For our inland areas, windy and breezy as we head into the weekend. And then we'll see temperatures drop off on your Sunday from mid to upper 80s down to low 80s and upper 70s as we head into next week. Overnight temperatures will remain in the low 50s for the next 7 days. That's a look at your full forecast. Back over to the news.
California's current drought is now the driest 3-year period on record. Unless there are some major changes, we're looking at now a 4th straight year of extremely dry conditions. Tom Waite tells us exactly why.
Water years 20, 21, and 22 are now the driest 3-year stretch in the observed record that begins with water year 1896.
The 2022 water year began with a wet and snowy September through December, but was followed by the driest January through March in over 100 years. The current dry spell is the worst possible situation for California's farmers. They're watching their crops dwindle away without rain. Our weather in the coming months will be determined by the stubborn La Nina climate system in the tropical Pacific. If it stays put, we're in for a 4th year of dry weather, but if it starts breaking down, things could change.
opens the door for something interesting to happen. We don't know what. We saw this past year, things went from very wet to very dry. So we just have to be very attentive to those weather forecasts. They offer us a short window, 1 to 2 weeks at a time, but be ready for anything that might come our way.
So we should always be thinking about planning for a year in which we might see some very wet extremes, or we might be having another dry year. In fact, we are actively planning for another dry year because we cannot predict whether or not water year 2023 will be wet or dry.
Meteorologist Ivory Small, who's based in Orange County, knows that drought conditions are fuel for wildfires. He says what SoCal needs is for El Nino to make a comeback.
Well, El Nino, which produces the rain around here with the warm waters off the coast, has been absent for a little while, but it's usually a 3 to 7 year cycle. And I think we're about done with La Nina. So probably any year now, El Nino should return to our area.
Until that happens, people across LA and the rest of the state are conserving water at record levels. And in August, California residents cut their water use to 105 gallons per person per day. But the experts say conservation needs to be a long-term way of life.
Jones says what Californians need to be successful in helping save water is sort of long-term reduction in urban water use, along with more efficient plumbing fixtures and landscaping water budgets. All right, everyone, wake up time at 5:51. We're back on the other side of the break. Stick with us this morning.
Share breaking news, photos, and videos on the KION News Channel 46 app.
Want to go someplace new? Yeah, you do.
See something new.
Learn something new.
Meet someone new.
Look who we just found hanging in the green room. There's always something new under the sun.
CBS Mornings.
On KION News Channel 46.
Is a normal night for you?
Yeah. You were raised to be
a hunter.
It's time to let the past go.
The Winchesters new series premieres Tuesday, October 11th, only on the CW.
Find your Central Coast CW on these channels. For all of your improvement projects, make sure you have a plan and trust a local licensed professional. You'll be glad you did. Sponsored by Kastner Exterminating, Pest Control Expert, Associated Services Heating, Solar and Air, and Wilson's Plumbing and Heating, Expert Plumbing Services.
You can start your day wanting an all-natural pregnancy and end it wanting an epidural. It's called being human. A human who takes care of their eyes, then stares at their phone, who embraces self-care and believes beauty is worth some pain. So go ahead and do your 10-step skincare routine and make the 11th sun. Teach your kids that aging is beautiful while trying to prevent it. With traditional medicine and alternative remedies, there's no wrong way to treat life at Rite Aid. And now, get your flu shot and updated COVID-19 booster with easy scheduling plus walk-ins available daily.
Hi, this is Victor Guzman. We invite you to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month here on CBS and KION News Channel 46.
Hi, my name's Veronica Macias, and I'm most proud of my Hispanic heritage because we believe in the American dream. Our people are about working hard and being loving.
We invite you to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with KION News Channel 46. Welcome back. Before we know it, Christmas time will be here, and a symbol of Christmas cheer will cost you just a little bit more this year. Well, Christmas Tree Farms say people can expect to pay more for their perfect tree this year. A survey of 55 wholesale Christmas tree growers found just about 71% expect to raise the wholesale prices. The growers account for just about 2/3 of the nationwide supply, and many of them plan to charge retailers 5 to even 15% more, with some even saying their trees will be 20% higher. Tree farms do not expect these shortages because this year's harvest actually looks pretty good. All right, we'll see you on the other side of the break, everyone.
Get the app, get the alert, know the current weather conditions with the KION Weather Authority app.
You told us a little about yourself, but your things told us a lot. They said you can command a room and how you tend to organize. You told us that you're partial to blue, but your belongings revealed your true colors. You needed room for order, we helped you make it. California Closets. Make room for all of you.
Learn more at adoptuskids.org.
Welcome back. Tuesday celebrates the holiest day of this year in Judaism. Yom Kippur begins at sundown right on October 4th. According to Jewish tradition, the day is a chance to wipe the slate clean of any wrongs committed over the past year. Well, people who observe this will fast, repent, and worship from sundown Tuesday until the end of nightfall on Wednesday. How great. I can't believe that time of the year has come here. October is just, it's here.
It's the 4th already.
I know.
I know.
Crazy. So crazy.
Well, as we're waking up, it's feeling like October. We kind of have a few clouds rolling in. We got some fog in some patchy locations, and temperatures are in the upper 50s and low 60s. Here's a look at Domenico's on the wharf out there. You can kind of see the reflection of the lights on some of those clouds out there. Not feeling too bad elsewhere either. Patchy morning fog, another seasonable day in store. And then as we head to the weekend, we are going to be expecting some cooler conditions, especially in the later half of the weekend. Right now, though, 50s across the board for us. It feels nice, and the Futurecast showing clouds clearing out of the way as we head into the afternoon. High temperatures in the 60s, 70s, and 80s as you head inland. The warmer you get. Sunset up in Santa Cruz is at 6:47. In Monterey, it's at 6:46. We'll see you on the other side of the break.